What if some of the most effective plants for supporting healthy insulin sensitivity are the very weeds most homeowners spend their weekends trying to eliminate? For generations, people relied on wild plants growing around their homes, gardens, and fields. They didn't know about insulin receptors, glucose transporters, or oxidative stress. But they knew which plants seemed to help them stay energetic, maintain healthy weight, and avoid the sluggish feeling that often followed heavy meals. Today, researchers are discovering that many of these forgotten weeds contain compounds capable of supporting blood sugar balance through multiple pathways. Some slow glucose absorption. Some nourish the gut bacteria linked to insulin sensitivity. Others provide minerals and antioxidants that modern diets often lack. Stick around because number 5 on this list contains more omega-3 fats than many cultivated vegetables. And number 1 is a weed so common that millions of people pull it from their lawns every year without realizing what they're throwing away. Hit that subscribe button right now, because every week we connect cutting-edge nutrition science with the foods your body was designed to thrive on. Let's get into it. Here are 20 backyard weeds that destroy insulin resistance, ranked from remarkable to absolutely extraordinary. For centuries, people throughout Europe, the Middle East, and North America harvested dandelions as food and medicine. Rural families gathered the leaves in spring and roasted the roots long before scientists understood why they were beneficial. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Dandelion contains inulin, chicoraic acid, and powerful polyphenols. Inulin acts as a prebiotic fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria, helping improve metabolic function. Research published in Nutrients has highlighted the role of prebiotic fibers in supporting insulin sensitivity and healthy glucose regulation. Here's the traditional use. Harvest young spring leaves for salads or sauté them lightly. The roots can be cleaned, dried, roasted, and brewed into a coffee-like beverage. Always avoid lawns treated with herbicides. Dandelion got forgotten because nobody can patent a plant growing freely in millions of backyards. Dandelion still offers what it offered for thousands of years. Across northern Europe, nettles were among the first edible greens available after winter. Communities gathered them carefully and transformed them into soups and nourishing meals. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Nettle contains flavonoids, lignans, magnesium, and antioxidant compounds associated with metabolic health. Studies published in Phytotherapy Research have examined nettle's ability to support healthy fasting glucose levels and insulin function. Here's the traditional use. Harvest young leaves while wearing gloves. Steam or cook them before consumption to neutralize the stinging hairs. Fresh nettle soup remains a traditional food in many regions. Nettle was overshadowed by processed foods and commercial supplements, despite centuries of use. Nettle still offers what it offered for hundreds of years. Ancient Romans and medieval herbalists relied on plantain for countless purposes. It grew wherever people settled and became one of the most widely used herbs in history. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry is now confirmed in clinical detail. Plantain contains soluble fiber, aucubin, and antioxidant compounds. The fiber slows digestion and helps support more gradual glucose absorption after meals. Here's the traditional use. Young leaves may be added to salads, while mature leaves are often used in teas and herbal preparations. Harvest from clean, uncontaminated locations. Because plantain could never become a patented medication, it received little commercial attention. Plantain still offers what it offered since ancient times. Native American communities and early settlers relied heavily on lamb's quarters as a dependable source of nutrition. It often produced abundant greens when cultivated crops struggled. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry is now confirmed in clinical detail. This plant provides magnesium, potassium, fiber, and antioxidants. Magnesium plays an important role in insulin signaling and glucose metabolism. Here's the traditional use. Harvest young leaves and cook them like spinach. The tender shoots are especially valued in spring. Industrial agriculture promoted uniform vegetables, while nutrient-dense weeds faded from attention. Lamb's quarters still offers what it offered for generations. Ancient Greeks, Egyptians, and people throughout the Mediterranean consumed purslane as both food and medicine. It thrived in dry conditions where other vegetables often failed. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Purslane contains omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, vitamin C, and beta-lane antioxidants. Research published in the Journal of Medicinal Food has reported improvements in several blood sugar markers among participants consuming purslane regularly. Here's the traditional use. Eat the succulent leaves fresh in salads, or lightly sauté them. Look for healthy green stems and avoid contaminated areas. Purslane got forgotten because commercial agriculture favored crops that were easier to standardize and market. Purslane still offers what it offered since ancient Mediterranean times. Throughout Europe, chickweed appeared each spring and was welcomed rather than removed. Families gathered it as a fresh, seasonal green. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Chickweed contains antioxidants, minerals, and beneficial plant compounds that may help reduce oxidative stress, one of the drivers of insulin resistance. Here's the traditional use. Add fresh chickweed to salads, sandwiches, or smoothies. Harvest only young, vibrant plants. Because it grows almost everywhere, chickweed never became a profitable commodity. Chickweed still offers what it offered for centuries. For generations, European and Asian cultures valued burdock root as a staple food and medicinal herb. It was especially prized during difficult times when cultivated foods were scarce. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Burdock contains inulin and polyphenols that support gut health and healthy glucose metabolism. The gut microbiome is increasingly recognized as a major factor in insulin sensitivity. Here's the traditional use. Harvest young roots, peel them, and cook them like carrots or parsnips. Burdock never fit neatly into industrial food systems. Burdock still offers what it offered for generations. European farmers noticed that red clover thrived in healthy soil and supported livestock health. Herbal traditions eventually adopted it for human wellness. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Red clover contains isoflavones and antioxidants that support metabolic and cardiovascular health. Here's the traditional use. Dry the blossoms and prepare them as a tea. Natural plants rarely attract the investment given to patented products. Red clover still offers what it offered for centuries. Ancient Greek traditions associated yarrow with healing and resilience. It remained one of Europe's most respected herbs for generations. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Yarrow contains flavonoids and bioactive compounds that support healthy inflammatory responses linked to metabolic wellness. Here's the traditional use. Brew dried flowers and leaves into tea. Yarrow still offers what it offered since antiquity. Wood sorrel has been gathered across Europe and North America for hundreds of years. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Its antioxidants and plant acids contribute to overall metabolic support. Here's the traditional use. Use sparingly in salads due to natural oxalates. Wood sorrel still offers what it offered for generations. If the pattern is becoming clear, that real food grown in real soil does what expensive medications promise, then do me a favor and hit the like button right now. It helps this channel reach people who are searching for answers that actually work. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe and ring the bell. We cover ancestral nutrition, homestead health, and evidence-based natural healing every single week. Now, let's finish the list with the most powerful ones. Ancient European and Asian cultures valued mugwort as a bitter herb supporting digestion and vitality. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Bitter compounds stimulate digestive processes closely linked to metabolic health. Here's the traditional use. Prepare a mild tea from properly identified leaves. Mugwort still offers what it offered for centuries. Dock species have long served as emergency greens during early spring. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. They provide fiber, minerals, and antioxidants that support metabolic function. Dock still offers what it offered for generations. Rural communities across Europe harvested wild garlic every spring. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Sulfur compounds support cardiovascular and metabolic health. Wild garlic still offers what it offered for centuries. Traditional herbalists often gathered cleavers during spring renewal seasons. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Its antioxidants contribute to healthy inflammatory balance. Cleavers still offers what it offered for generations. Ancient Egyptians and Mediterranean cultures consumed mallow as both food and medicine. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Its mucilaginous fiber slows digestion and supports blood sugar stability. Mallow still offers what it offered for thousands of years. Common throughout Europe and Asia, shepherd's purse followed human settlements for centuries. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Its compounds contribute to overall metabolic resilience. Shepherd's purse still offers what it offered for centuries. Ancient civilizations cultivated amaranth long before modern agriculture emerged. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Its magnesium, protein, and fiber support healthy glucose metabolism. Wild amaranth still offers what it offered since ancient times. Traditional herbal systems valued wild violets for nourishment and wellness. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Their antioxidants help support metabolic balance. Violet leaves still offer what they offered for generations. Known across Europe as a healing herb, Self-Heal earned respect through centuries of practical use. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Its bioactive compounds support healthy inflammatory pathways. Self-Heal still offers what it offered for centuries. Ancient healers throughout Europe and Asia often considered the root more valuable than the leaves themselves. Here's what they understood through generations of observation that modern biochemistry has now confirmed in clinical detail. Dandelion root contains concentrated inulin and polyphenols that nourish beneficial gut bacteria and support insulin sensitivity. Scientists continue investigating its metabolic effects today. Here's the traditional use. Roast dried roots and brew them as tea or coffee substitutes. It got forgotten because weeds cannot become billion-dollar patents. Dandelion root still offers what it offered for thousands of years. If you made it all the way through, here is your complete framework. Use dandelion, burdock, and plantain to increase beneficial fiber intake. Use nettle, lamb's quarters, and wild amaranth to boost minerals associated with healthy insulin function. Use antioxidant-rich plants like chickweed, yarrow, violet leaves, and Self-Heal to combat oxidative stress. And use nutrient-dense foods like purslane and wild garlic to fill gaps created by modern processed diets. The remarkable thing is that these plants were discovered independently by different cultures separated by oceans and centuries. Again and again, people returned to the same weeds because they observed consistent results. Modern science is not replacing ancestral wisdom. In many cases, it is explaining it. Researchers now understand that fibers, polyphenols, antioxidants, minerals, and phytonutrients work together to support the systems involved in blood sugar regulation. Smash that like button if this changed the way you look at backyard weeds. Drop a comment below and tell me which plant surprised you most. Are you Team Dandelion, Team Purslane, or Team Nettle? I read every single comment. And if you haven't subscribed to Homestead Roots yet, click that button now and ring the bell. We post every week, and we are just getting started. Because the most powerful nutrition doesn't come in a prescription. It grows in a garden, along a fence line, and sometimes in the weeds people overlook. And now you know exactly which plants to grow, eat, and prepare.